record and we'll get started here. So we got Skylar from the Hickory office, Lindsay's office, and then it looks like Sailor and Zoe, you guys are both working with Jess, right? Perfect. Well, welcome. My name is Andrew Evans, and I'm the division manager for the Florida Coast Heat Division. So I started with the company back when I was a junior in high school. Been doing this for almost a decade now, and basically my position as the division manager is that I oversee the operations of 25 different offices up and down the coast of Florida, as well as in a few cities outside of Florida, like Hickory, North Carolina. And yeah, I've been in this role for about 2 years now, and I am in charge of the Florida Coast Heat Division, and we're really excited to have you, whether you're an SMRA, whether you're a sales rep, to be here. So I just want to start off by number one, welcoming you all today, and we've got a smaller group here for today, so we'll keep things short and sweet. Maybe we'll finish a little bit earlier here today, but as we're getting started, I want to just recommend number one. Everyone's 100% engaged today. So it looks like everyone's ready to rock and roll. Everyone's, queued up and has the proper virtual Zoom etiquette. But three things that I think that you can kind of write down that I want you guys to take down that leaders that are 100% engaged do. This is straight out of a Matthew Kelly book, but we found that leaders that are 100% engaged, they do three things. Number one, they seek best practices. Right. So I think about number one, are you seeking out the best way to do things? Right. Or are you seeking out the most comfortable, or the easiest, or the one that gets you by? Or are you like, hey, as an SMRA, are you trying to get like the done the best way? Like when you call PRs, is it like, okay, I got someone scheduled, or are you trying to make sure that they actually show? Right? Are you trying to get the best results and find best practices? Or are you just trying to look at what gets the job done? Second thing is, are you hungry for growth? You can typically just tell who's hungry for growth based off of, how many notes are you taking? Who's got pen and paper out, or whether you're taking it on the computer or laptop or typing, just how many notes do you have, coming out to today's meeting? This was an invitation only meeting. So there's a lot of SMRAs in the division, and, there's only a couple SMRAs that are on this call right now. Okay. So with that said, I just want to give props to you. Number one, on being invited to this event. And the last thing is just, hey, can you gain some personal clarity? I think today, you may have thought today was all about, how to get more friends in the team, or, how to get better at setting PRs, or, how to even sell some Cutco. But today's really about, opening up some longer term opportunities, gain some personal clarity, and just letting you all know about some opportunities that could be open to you in the next couple of weeks of working on the job, as well as the next couple of years here. So we'll start off with that. And this is our social media recruiting assistant development meeting. Man, that is a mouthful. But I have basically three objectives of today's meeting. Number one is to educate you on future opportunities. I want to let you know, as an SMRA, you really are a part of a hand-selected group, and this is something I'll talk about a long time. But an advancement is not for everybody. Not everyone that we're going to have is going to advance into anything more than the position they were hired into. But if that's something that could be exciting for you, I'll tell you what, as an SMRA, you are on the fast track for advancement opportunities. And if you ever want to become, like, I'll tell you guys about Chloe Corey later. But she was an SMRA last year that now this summer is running her own branch office of the company. So, I want to educate you on future opportunities that you have, being that you started the position as an SMRA, which in my opinion gives you an upper hand at a lot of things. The second thing is that this meeting allows me, it's partially for me, to identify our future leaders for 2022 and beyond. Last summer, we had 3 offices in our division. Right. Last summer, and actually to give you a little bit of history, the background of the division, actually in 2018, we were originally 2 divisions. So we, across the whole entire state of Florida, we were 2 divisions, and we set out to, hey, can we have this truly epic, massive sales year? And that's exactly what we did. And we did that. And in 2019, we scaled it out to the rest of the company. The rest of the company took our programs, actually, just so you know, the whole SMRA position and role originally wasn't even a thing. And I believe that we started creating that in 2018, and that has since forth grown to what it is today. And now it's part of something that our entire company does. But it started right down here in South Florida and in the Florida coast and Florida Caribbean divisions. And in 2020, we split into 2 separate divisions and connected to our division. That year, we had 3 offices in our division. And 1 year later, we have 25 offices in our division. And the only reason that I say that and share that with you all, okay, is because What that means is that there's a new level, a new layer of leadership that we are looking for to build, and a lot of people recently got promoted. So that means there's a lot of new opportunities for young blood, young leaders to kind of step up and take charge. So the third thing is it allows me. I hope this dramatically increases your Cutco sales opportunity that you have here. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about what would it be like if you wanted to get involved in some of the other aspects or avenues of the business today as well, or whether that's something you choose to do or not. So I want to welcome you as part to the division, and I want to thank you too just for your work as an SMRA. You all are easily one of the most important roles that we have inside of our division. None of the offices would be having the success they have without you. None of the offices would be doing the team building and the recruiting. Like, it really always comes back to our SMRA team. So I just want to thank you, number one, for being a part of our division. And number two, our goal, our mantra, no matter who you are or where you're coming from or what office you're working in, our goal is to develop 5-star college graduates, and people that are graduating with more job offers and better job offers, regardless of their school, their industry, their major that they want to go into. As they're graduating, they're highly sought after upon college graduation. Did any of you all or any of you all played sports in high school or anything like that? Anyone played college sports? Cool. Well, if you're a high school athlete, okay, if you're there's kind of stars and categories and rankings, right? 1 or 2 star athletes don't go play college ball or college sports athletics at period. And then there are certain individuals, 3 or 4 star athletes that are, the creme de la creme. They're the above average athletes that they have a chance to go play at a collegiate level at their universities, maybe even get a scholarship for school. They're going to go to events and ideally compete with other students to be scouted out by coaches and teams. And then there's a certain type of individuals called 5-star recruits. Okay. And they don't compete with the students, right? They're not competing with the students to get into the colleges and universities. The colleges, universities, and the coaches are competing against each other to get those students, right? It's a completely different dynamic. And so, for me, this is what it means when we have 5-star college graduates is, first off, most people are 1 or 2-star graduates, meaning they graduate and don't have a job offer out of school. And that's just the reality of America today. 60%, 3 out of 5 people graduate without a job offer. Only 2 out of 5 have a job offer. Over 50% of college students move back home with mom and dad upon college graduation. It takes the average college graduate 6 months to find their first job after they graduate from school. So, 3 or 4 star recruits go out there and, they compete in the job market. And they'll go out on a series of interviews and hopefully hope that they get interviewed and get a position and role. And then there's 5-star graduates, which are the people that they don't go out and get interviewed. They go out and interview the companies and the schools and the medical school programs and the graduate school programs, because the schools and programs already want them. Right. And that's not everybody, but there is a select group of people that are that. And so our goal inside this division is to really help create future leaders that do just that. And so, that's our mantra. And these are our 4 pillars of what it means to be a part of this division. So whether you are working with a manager, whether you are an SMRA, or whether you are in a sales role or a capacity or in our leadership academy, these are the 4 key pillars that I would write down into your notes today of what, number one, I'm looking for in future leaders. And number two, what we want to develop in our future leaders as well. So the first thing is having a high performance mindset. High performance mindset. I think, having a high performance mindset just goes back to like, hey, when you do the job, are you expecting strong results, right? Like, you can tell who has a high performance mindset based on the SMRAs that are like frustrated when they have a 40% show or a 50% show to interviews, right? Like they have a high performance mindset. They're like, well, obviously I set them up for the interview. I expect them to show. They should be nothing less. Versus some SMRAs are excited when they have a 30% show, which means their expectations are that like they were going to get 9 out of 10 people that they schedule for interviews. We're not going to show up to it. That's like a low performing mindset, right? So if you have a high performing mindset, I just think about, if you watch, hey, Tom Brady, like they're not celebrating when they score touchdowns or when they win games. Like that is what his job is. His job is to score touchdowns. His job is to win championships, win Super Bowls. That's why he's getting paid millions of dollars to do that. So, the losing teams are the ones that celebrate when they win a game, right? So it's just like, hey, do you have a high performance mindset in what you're doing, no matter what it is that you're doing? Number two is energetic leadership. just because you're always, no matter whether you're a leader, no matter whether you're in sales, no matter whether you are on a phone call with an applicant, you're always influencing the energy of the room. You're influencing the SMRA shift, the Zoom call, whatever it is, just based on how you show up to that. And leaders aren't always necessarily people by title. They're people that lead the energy in the room and space. We have a position called a shift leader, which is a position that maybe some of you all will find yourselves in later on this summertime. And realistically, like, we already know who the shift leaders are before we ever give them that job and that role, because they're already leading the shifts with the way they show up with their energy. Ace Weekly, because it's about consistency. There's an entire podcast dedicated towards this concept of just, hey, being an ace, being someone that is able to get the job and the end results over and over. And that's what I'll just tell you. For me, an SMRA, it's way more impressive someone that gets, hey, a 35, 40% show, and they're sending their 15 or their 20 every single weekend, week out. That's way more. I'd rather pay that person way more money because they're reliable and consistent, versus the girl that goes one week, sets 20 and boom, 70% show. And the next week is like, sets 10 and a 15% show. And it's just like wishy-washy. You never really know exactly what you're going to get with that person too. So consistency goes a really long way. It's just like going to the gym and working out. You can go to a boot camp for a week and work out really, really, really hard, okay, and work your butt off. But the person that just works out 3 times a week and does that for 10, 15 weeks straight is going to be a lot further than no matter how hard that one person worked out at boot camp for a week. Consistency goes a lot further in long-term sustainability and results. So that's just my first quick thoughts of what it means to be a part of this division, and just, our culture and our mantra today. So I want to start off with that. And as we go through today, you might have some light bulbs at any point today while I'm speaking. And I love, and I would encourage you just to post those into the chat. So if you have a light bulb or an aha moment, and let me just go ahead and I'll forward this into here real quickly. So if you have a light bulb, or if you have an aha moment, something like true professionalism or flexible schedules, or whatever ended up standing out to you today, I'd love to just hear what's sticking with you, what's giving you some confidence or clarity, what's maybe giving you getting you thinking about things differently. And I'd just be curious to know, even as we're getting started today, any light bulbs or takeaways as we're getting ready, and we'll dive into the rest of the content here for today. But any light bulbs or takeaways as we're getting started?
I'm just excited to see where I can go from this position, and like the growth part of it. I'm just really excited about it.
Cool. Well, Zoe, we will do just that. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. Anybody else? Cool. There will probably be some more, and I'll come up for air a little bit here as well. But to Zoe's point, we'll talk about just that. What can you do, and what are the growth opportunities here? So, one of the first things that I'll tell you about is this meeting is partially to educate you upon the opportunities that you can have specifically in the SMRA role. And if your manager is inviting you to this meeting, it's because they think you would do a kick-ass job at the sales position too. And so I'll talk to you a little bit. Now, no one has an obligation of selling. You don't have to do anything. You can keep staying you can go to this meeting, attend it, learn a little bit, and just keep doing what you're doing if that's what you want to do. But I will talk to you guys about the value, okay, of learning how to sell. And by the way, you're already learning how to sell. Guess what you're doing half the time? I mean, a good PR caller or someone that's good is selling applicants on the position. You're just, instead of selling Cutco, you're selling the job. That's it. That's what you're doing as an SMRA. You're always selling. You're selling everything that you do, no matter whether you're a lawyer, doctor, engineer, nurse. Okay. If you're a doctor, you're going to have to sell your patients on why they should trust the health and lives of their family in your hands versus all the other, doctors in town. If you're a teacher, you better be able to sell your students on why they should pay attention and learn and listen in class, or you're going to be one of those teachers that like hates her life every single day and wants to bang her head against the brick wall, every day when she goes to school. Or you're going to love what you do and really enjoy and have a passion for teaching. And that's the difference between the teachers that are still passionate about teaching after doing it for years or not, is because, some students, their students' engagement and if are they able to sell their students on learning. If you're a lawyer, you're going to be selling your case to the courtroom. If you're a business owner, you're selling your vision to your employees. Whatever you're doing, if you want to get promoted at your job, you're selling your boss on why you should be the right person for the job. You are always selling in everything that you do in life. And so, it really is a valuable skill set to learn. I don't care what you're doing in the future, managerial, wise or not, business wise or not. Learning the skills of selling, I think, is just one of the most transformative skills that can help you long term in whatever you're doing. It gives you the soft skills. That's the difference between, being an engineer and being Mark Zuckerberg, being, a doctor and being Dr. Miami, being like there's a level and element that involves in there. So the first thing and the value of doing the sales role at Coco, okay, outside of number one, just experience, first thing is just financial success. Okay. So, you're going to get a lot more financial success, in my opinion, as a sales representative or adding that component into your position and into your role. I know most of you all probably make like $11 an hour, and that's great and fine and dandy. But the reality is that like I'm on here right now, like Jessica just had a couple, sales reps that were on the SLDM that made more money in this weekend, like the first weekend on the job, than they did than some of you all have, and you've been working here for a couple weeks or a month. Okay. And I don't say that like to bash you or make you feel bad. If you're happy with it, you're getting great. But also, hey, having money is not everything, but money doesn't buy happiness, but neither does poverty. And the ability to make a lot more money, or if you are financially motivated, money can give you freedom to do things that you do want to do. Cutco paid my entire way through college. After I graduated from high school, I never had to ask my parents for another paycheck, for another. I didn't have to ask them for anything. I covered everything myself from the day I left my house from high school, and Cutco paid my whole way through school. And it felt good being able to tell mom and dad, like, hey, don't worry about college. Like, I got it covered. Having some early at a young age financial success can really set you up and tee yourself up. If you have $20,000 saved as a 24-year-old, you're in the top 1% of people in your age group. And, I know hundreds of people in that category that have that done. And obviously it's different because I know a different type of 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds, the ones that I work with. But, maybe it's not just that, maybe it's just having more spending money this summer. Maybe it's just going to college and being a little bit more flexible where you're sitting on a couple $1,000s instead of, a couple $100. But I think it's no secret that our sales reps make some really, really good levels of income. And there's two parts to our pay program. So, as a sales representative, if you've sat through an interview, you probably already know this, but our sales reps get paid a base pay for every single presentation that they complete. They get paid $15 per appointment. An appointment takes about 45 minutes to an hour just for sitting down with the customers, regardless of whether they sell anything. And we do that so our representatives just have a floor, something that's stable, consistent. We'll give them confidence as the position continues. They're never pressuring customers or worried like, what if I don't make a sale on this appointment? They have some sort of base level that's just consistent. And, that's the cool thing is that you could be doing your SMRA gig and then doing, 8 to 10 appointments a week and be earning an extra $120 to $150, even if you sold nothing. Now, by the way, if you're an SMRA, I would never expect you to sell nothing. In fact, I'll let you guys know a little secret that we have as managers when we're hiring SMRAs is that, our decision process is if someone would be a really, really kick-ass sales rep, we hire them as an SMRA. In fact, when people come on sales rep interviews and we think they would kick butt with a position, we hire them as an SMRA instead. And our philosophy behind doing that is because we know that they'll be teed up for a better, more successful long-term career. Because if they want to go into sales, we'll always put them back into sales. They can always have success there. But as an SMRA, one of the things that we look for in like when we train managers is the first thing that we train a sales rep to do is basically the SMRA job. So when, Jessica just started the job as a sales rep and she became the assistant manager, we said, okay, Jess, here's what we're going to do now. We're going to teach you how to call PRs. Now we're going to teach you how to do social media advertising and get recruits on the team. Now we're going to teach you how to do all the stuff that you all have already been doing for a couple weeks or a couple months. So it just instantly puts you ahead of the curve of the rest of the group, of the rest of other sales reps that are out there. And so, your managers are pretty confident, even if you've never touched sales before, if they hired you for this job and role, they think you do probably a damn good job here. And obviously if you're invited to this meeting, that, is confirming that. And there's a rising commission bracket. So as you sell more in your career, the commission percentage that you make goes up and up. And I would recommend, you can hop into an interview with your managers and they can walk you through the specific pay structure as well. But we have a lot of representatives that, are earning $1,000, $2,000 their first, 10 days in the job. We have lots of our top performers that are earning $5, $10, $15, $20,000 in income, just for the summertime while working with us. And maybe it's not that, But even if it's a little bit extra income, I think the financial success can help. Second thing is just the experience. If you talk to any highly successful person at what it is that they do, they'll ultimately, a lot of times come back to the experience that they got while as a sales representative. There's a great podcast called Changing Lives Podcast. If you want to write this down, and if this inspires you a little bit to go, listen to a couple podcasts and see where people that have come through and came through Cutco's programs have gone in life. And you'll hear from, Olympic athletes, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, or Fortune 500 companies. You'll talk about, vice presidents from Facebook, people that are run top performing coaching organizations all across the board. And there's one great podcast that you can listen to that I recommend, called the Changing Lives Podcast. It's Jeff Gamboa, and he talks about Cutco through college, which really just talks about our student development program. And so if anything that I say is interesting for you today, definitely recommend you going and checking out that podcast here as well. So let's dive in a little bit and talk to you a little bit about our opportunities. So if you do move into a sales role and you want to open up this whole entire door of other future opportunities and advancement experience, the first and biggest one that if you're excited about anything, what I recommend to be excited about is our TLA, is the Leadership Academy. And that's how we create our 5-star college recruits. That's our version of corporate management, personal and professional growth training. And if you go to Nike, if you go to Google, if you go to, any other company, Facebook, they're all going to have their version of the Leadership Academy, or TLA. That doesn't really separate us or make us unique. What separates us and makes us unique is that we're the #1 student work company in the country. That there are no other companies that work with as many students as we do. And so, while they are providing that type of level of training and leadership to people that are in their 30s and 40s and 50s, we're providing it to students that are 17 to 24 years old, and in a time period in their lives where it's going to make the most impact on the trajectory of the rest of their lives. So if you're looking to help grow yourself into the best version of yourself, TLA is really where we help educate our people and teach them the skill set of how to manage their time, how to manage money, how to manage energy, how to manage other people, and most importantly, how to manage themselves. And so people that get the TLA and go through a typical kind of track of development here with us, it typically looks something like this. Okay. And some of you all are already on this. As an SMRA, you're on the fast track to get into TLA. When I have an SMRA go into the sales role, like my interviews are pretty rigorous with people when they try to get into TLA at the end of the summertime. People work really, really hard for those interviews. And I'll be honest, for most of my SMRAs, when I have an SMRA that's already gone through the sales rep role, it's kind of a no-brainer for me when they go to apply for TLA, because, all the boxes of things that I'm about to teach them, they already know half of them, and they've already set themselves up pretty well. So like I said, you're kind of on the fast track. Usually as an SMRA, the first week or couple weeks or month on the job, you're doing just purely social media work and learning the ins and outs of, number one, how to use your own network to advertise for the positions and roles, eventually how to expand to beyond your network, how to use just social media in general to recruit from it. The second thing you're learning how to do is how to schedule applicants over the phone for respective interviews. And then from there, which is probably what the stage that most of you all are about to enter into, is phase 3 is learning how to sell and learn how to earn your spot into TLA. Typically 10K in sales for the summertime is what qualifies you to be able to interview for the Leadership Academy roles here. Although sometimes we make some exceptions for SMRAs, but usually we don't have to, because they're usually the top sales reps every single summer. So let's start off an SMRA role. The fourth phase, is that after you've gone to kind of phase 1, 2, and 3, you now are qualified to become either a shift leader or an assistant manager, intern / assistant manager. So a shift leader is a person that is doing the same job as an SMRA. They're just helping manage the shift. So when the manager is not there, there's usually a shift leader that is setting the tone and leading the way for everybody else. And they're being paid a little bit more hourly to do just that. And then there's the assistant manager, intern, and assistant manager roles inside of the respective office. And so this is where you can start to access a little bit more of the advanced sales rep opportunities here as well. So let me go ahead and cue this up real quickly, and I will send into the group chat in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I just forwarded the steps to the vector opportunity document into the chat here. The first step that you guys will see if you open up that document, number one, is being here. Okay, and I know that sounds funny and it's like cliche, but the reality is that there's a lot of people, there's a lot of SMRAs in our division that we're not invited to this call, or that we're not invited to this meeting. So I want to give you props on doing that. Number one. Number two is, after you start the sales role, the second opportunity that you could open for yourself is just get into Dirty 30. So Dirty 30 is what happens once you hit 10K in career sales. You're making 30% from that day forward off of anything that you sell, in and on the job. And, that's when really the financial opportunity becomes pretty exciting, because you can be selling $1,000 a week, which is pretty much the bare minimum that most sales reps are selling on a weekly basis. $2,000 to $3,000 being like the standard benchmarks of weekly performance. And you can see people that are making, anywhere from 900 to, some comma paychecks with a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in front of them. And that's those are weekly paychecks, by the way, that a lot of people, are earning. So once someone becomes a sales representative or moves into the sales rep route, there's a couple of different stages. The first stage is they get onto the key staff inside the office, which is kind of like the inner leadership group within an office. Meaning, if you were a sports team, this is like being on the starters. It's not like an extra responsibility. You're not the captain necessarily. Like, you don't have extra work. You're just like one of the leaders of the team. You come to the same meetings, you do the same job, but you're just setting the tone. You're someone that other people are going to look up to. Maybe other people are going on field trainings with you. And as one of the leaders, you have a couple perks. You get one-on-one bets with your managers. You get special priority attention. You're able to come to our divisional development leader calls with our key staff manager, Eddie de las Cuevas, which happen every single morning at 10 a.m. for our representatives. To be invited onto our key staff in the office, you got to be at least at 3K in sales. You got to be pretty consistent with your performance. You got to have a positive attitude, and you've got to ask your manager. Like most things, is like, you don't know if you don't ask. A general good rule of thumb is, if you ever want to be promoted to things, like, just ask. Okay, we'll go a lot further. And, you expressing and voicing your interests and desires will probably go further with your manager than anything else. Assistant manager intern. Look, here's the thing. If you have SMRA on your resume, it's already great. Be able to say that you help you team build and help build up the sales representative. I mean, as an SMRA, you can say, hey, I was in charge of the Bradenton office, and I helped, personally grow the office from 4 people to, over 50 or 100 recruits that summer, and helped us become the number, 4, number 10 office in the entire country. That looks great when you can say that kind of thing, on your resume. When you add in the sales component of the job also onto your resume, and then, oh my gosh, if you also add in an assistant manager internship role, like, all in the same summer, which is totally possible. Because, by the way, this is like why you're the fast track. Most SMRAs, most people, we will pick probably 4 to 5 people in our offices each summer to become AMIs. And they're typically the top sales reps on the team, typically people that have worked in the job for a month and a half to 2 months or more, and have kind of risen to the top. I have seen countless SMRAs start the sales job and be promoted to a role of AMI 2 weeks after they start the sales job. And that's just because, again, they're already doing, like, we don't even have to train them to become an AMI or AM, because they're pretty much already doing a lot of the activities as an SMRA that sales rep or individual is doing. And so when you can put that in your resume too, our assistant manager interns, they're getting management experience. They're seeing all the behind the scenes. They can go ahead and watch people run interviews, see the staff meetings, watch team meetings be created and made. And they get a chance to really see the ins and outs of every aspect behind the curtain of the business. It's not a lot of extra work or time, but it's an extra level of experience they can put on their resume, and it sets them up to be the first selection for a paid assistant manager role. And our paid assistant manager roles, well, actually, before I get to that, AMI requirements: you got to be at 6K in sales. You got to be pretty consistent in the newsletter. You have to be a team builder, and you got to have a positive attitude. So half of these things you're already doing if you are an SMRA. And from there, what AMI does is it opens opportunity for a paid assistant manager role, which is the same thing as an assistant manager intern. Just rather than observing, they're actually running the functions, because they've watched them enough times to where now they're competent to be running themselves, and they're actually in a paid position and role inside of the office, where they're being paid on a weekly basis, not off just their personal sales, not just off their SMRA pay, but off the overall office performance. And most of our assistant managers are making pretty good money. I mean, the average, AM is making 15 grand in our division for the summertime. On the low end, they're making $10,000. On the high end, our top AM in the division last summer made about $37,000 or and change. And a summertime as a college student, by the way. Okay. So, and by the way, maybe this is this summer, because I'll tell you what, as an SMRA, you are on the fast track. Maybe it's an opportunity for the fall, spring, or maybe even next summer. Bottom line, that's one opportunity door that you can open up for yourself. So typically it goes key staff, AMI, or an assistant manager role, or like I said, potentially a shift leader role. And then the ultimate experience that someone can get while working as a representative or or inside of our leadership academy inside of Cutco is the position of branch manager. Okay, and this is Cutco. This is the premier opportunity that we offer our students here. A lot of you all, actually all of you all that are on the call right now are working with two of our branch managers, either Lindsay or Jessica. And this is a position where someone 18 to 24 years old is typically going down to their and opening up an office in their own respective area or territory location for the summer, and they are in charge of literally every aspect of running their own business, from hiring and training a team of SMRAs to recruiting, training, and developing a team of sales representatives, coaching for the summertime, leading them on to sales performance, managing the team, creating the culture, doing talent acquisition, all recruiting activities. And it's really a phenomenal opportunity. In my opinion, look, there is nothing that you can do as a 17 to 24-year-old to impact the 5 to 10 years out of post-college graduation outside of running a branch office with Cutco. If you want to be the most highly sought after student, this is what you do. And by the way, I'm obviously biased. I ran 3 branch offices while I was in college, and I know what it did for me. But if you want to talk to Jess, or if you want to talk to some of our previous branch managers, like Eric Palacio or Alex Gonzalez from previous years, like, and talk to them about how it affected their job search or their medical school applications when they graduated, like, you can be my guest and we can connect you with those people. But it's very, very popular for people that, for instance, want to go to medical, they're on a medical route, but they want to run their own practice. So they'll go out and run a branch office and get the skills of running their own business, of running their own practice, while in the fall and spring still being able to stay on the medical school route and not having to go get a business degree and learn about something that they've also never really actually done before. So it gives them that practical, real world experience, and also it's just something that helps them stand out on their medical school applications, where everyone has the same residency, shadowing, and coursework. They have something that really separates them, if you will, from the rest of the group. So we call it taking the leap. It's something very challenging, but it's very exciting and very rewarding. I think about our branch manager, Chloe Corey. So this is actually last year. This, ironically enough, this is the first. You all know when you first started the job, you made that first little social media post. This is the first post that Chloe ever made back last year, 2020. She had just started the job. It was around May or June last year as an SMRA. And fast forward, she ended up becoming, and Chloe was probably the most reluctant person ever. Like, a lot of you all might be on this call and you're already excited. Like, I want to learn more about sales and future opportunities. She was like, I don't want to do anything else other than this. I don't want to sell. I have no desire to, I don't want to do any of that. She's just very reluctant. And her manager at the time, Eddie, was just like, all right, do you trust me? I'm looking out for you. I know you're going to have so much more fun in this role and you're going to absolutely kick some butt. She was kind of coerced into going into the sales role. And then eventually she did it. She ended up kicking butt. She actually was the #1 sales rep in the division last summer. As an SMRA, so she SMRA sales rep. By the end of the summer, she was running the SMRA program in the Clearwater office, and then got accepted to our TLA Leadership Academy. Fast forward 1 year later, now she's all set up in her very own office. And by the way, Chloe at the young age of, I think she's 19, she just graduated from high school. So this is, her freshman year in college now. And now she's running her own office and her own business with the company at that young age. And, some of our top managers from 2019 and 2020. The advice or question I always pose to people is like, what's better, right? You can go out and work for 30, 40, 50 years and then go make your 6 figures. And when I say 6 figures, it's not because that's what I think is successful. It's just, that's the number I hear from a lot of students. When I was in college and, in the business school, everyone talked about going into investment banking or consulting or management consulting. And it's like, I want to make six figures when I graduate, right? The reality is that very few students do that. Most people are going to be getting a job and then, getting some promotions and raises and working their way up to a level like that. And that's totally fine. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Or what if, you could work for a couple years throughout college. You could work for a couple years throughout college to really develop yourself into a five-star college recruit to help you gain the skills and allow you to become a lot more marketable and make more money in the future right out of school. And that's kind of the path, so there's never a rush to, you have the rest of your life to work, you have the rest of your life to develop yourself. And you can do that. But, the question I pose to people is like, what would it be like if you did that while you were in school and you started to stand out from the rest of your peer group now? What happens for the rest of your life if you start to differentiate yourself from your peer group at a young age? Where do you find yourself at the age of 25 or the age of 30 or the age of 35 or 40? So it's just a question to think about. And I think that's what our branch manager position really does for our students and really does for our people. And our SMRAs always make the best branch managers. It happens every single year. So finally, the last few positions I can talk about. Last one would just be our pilot sales manager role. And this is not something on the table for any of you all this summer or next summer, most likely. Usually it's only after you've already ran a branch office or you've already had some initial success as a manager. But each and every single year, there's two really important decisions that I make, or just in my life, as always, is number one, who's my significant other? And number two, who is my pilot sales manager? Probably the most two important decisions that I make. And every year, we kind of seek out who's the division's number one candidate, the highest trained candidate, the top level candidate, and the highest trained individual in TLA to have a direct apprenticeship with myself that I can personally manage and coach. And this year, that's Jonathan Castell. So, as much as a lot of you all will not work with him directly, and as an SMRA role, if you get accepted into the Leadership Academy, or if you become a sales rep, you'll probably in one way or another end up working with Jonathan. And that's a role I'm always scouting out for our future PSM. And I don't know if it will be any of you all on the call. I never actually know who it's going to be, but it's going to be someone that's on one of these calls this summer coming up in the future. So I always like to bring it up. So I'll come up for air for a quick second. I'd love you to just take a quick second, look at your notes, and just jot down and post in the group chat real quickly. What's coming up for you? What's a light bulb or two that you're having? Is there anything that you're really excited about? Maybe it's a specific, maybe it's an idea, maybe it's a specific position or role. Maybe it's like, oh man, becoming a shift leader would be really exciting for me, or, getting onto our key staff as a sales rep, or, hey, honestly, with what I want to do in the future, the idea of becoming a branch manager would be something that's really exciting. But what's a light bulb or two that you're having? What's getting you excited? What's giving you some confidence or clarity? And I'd love to hear, have everyone post up in the group chat, but have, at least one or two people share just what's getting you excited. Is there anything as I'm going through that, as I'm going through this, this list here, okay, that's standing out to you, and is getting you excited here too. For me, honestly, my first light bulb moment, I remember I was at an event like this, not an SMRA at the time, but for me, it was just like, oh, like I was working 3 jobs at the time, and this is like my 3rd job. And I was just like, oh, maybe I could do this for more than one summer. I just was trying to do this part-time for like a little summer gig, but maybe I could do this in the fall or school year or next summer. And that was like my first light bulb, the first time I started thinking a little bit differently about my opportunities that I had in front of me. So curious to know anything from people that are on the call right now, what's sticking out, or anything that you feel like you'd be excited about?
I think that this is just like super encouraging to like actually realistically think about moving forward, like than more than just an SMRA, because I hadn't really like thought about that. Actually, I was like, oh, I'll just DM people on Instagram and like call people and set them up for interviews. But because like I turned down like a sales rep position before, like I'd gotten like asked about it. And so now I'm like, oh, like that could actually be like something super fun and like help me throughout college.
Yeah. What are you studying in college, Sarah?
Education. I want to be a teacher.
Cool. There you go. Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
Is anyone in your family a teacher, by the way, or is that just like you?
No, my parents both own their own companies. So
Cool. Yes, my sister also is a teacher here as well. Yeah, Zoe or Scott, you guys want to chime in?
Yeah, I just posted in the group chat, but I think I definitely want to become start moving up and start selling. And I love the idea of having a strong source of income from this. I, again, kind of like sailor, I just started this just thinking it'd be a nice side job for the summer, but now
Right.
I'm really excited and I really want to start doing more than what I am, because I'm just kind of getting really excited about it. So
Cool. Awesome. Well, we're excited for you, and we're excited to have you on the team here too. So I know Jess will take care of you and help and support you. And like I said, that's why I said always talk to your managers about like what you are excited about, because the more they know what you're excited about, the more they're going to be able to help coach you on exactly how to get there, because they've done it themselves too. Scott, do you want to chime in?
Well, really is exciting to hear, like Zoe said, but I didn't really think much of this job coming in. Just like, yeah, like you said, like it'd be a nice like side job. I graduate in December, and that's like really scary. I graduate from college.
Nice.
So that's like super scary, especially hearing what you said, like how most college graduates don't go into a job directly. And I think moving into a sales position possibly would be something I've never thought about, but possibly something that I'd be interested in and be good for me.
Most people are situation per se of like, most SMRAs or sales reps are, have a couple years before they graduate from college or school. But for people that are either have decided maybe college is not for me, or you're about to graduate from college, I will take a couple minutes just real quickly to walk you through some, potential long-term opportunities that you could create for yourself. And I think just about like, hey, if you are graduating, like what type of experience you can have if you just dive in this summer and this fall, and like what kind of other doors outside of Cutco I can offer you, or even just opening up, maybe longer term, more serious opportunities inside of Cutco if it's something that you're excited about, upon graduating from college here too. So typically, like I said, the typical if you're on the Cutco TLA collegiate track, okay, for those of you guys that have a couple more years in college, usually your first summer as if you're a Cutco sales rep is selling and earning a spot. The next summer someone might run a branch office or go into a full-time sales rep position. I ran 3 branch offices in college. So like your first summer, you're just learning how to like build a business. Second summer, it's learning how to grow a business. Third summer, it's really learning how to like actually scale that business out. And then from there, we like to offer, a couple long-term opportunities where people could go into being a district manager or a career sales professional with us, or they're a 5-star college graduate. And, so our goal there is that like, for instance, even someone like in a position like Sky is that, one of 2 things is happening. And in my opinion, by the way, this is not the drop out of college or change your major or career conversation. Okay. I just think it's always better to have options and be able to choose for yourself versus have other people or other situations choose for you because you don't have a lot of options. Right. So the idea is just that, hey, you have options when you graduate, and that you're sought after, and that if you want to go into something outside of it, cool. And you're going to make Cutco look better because it's helped set you up for some of those opportunities. Or you're setting yourself up for, some kick-ass opportunities inside of Cutco. But, when it comes down to it, like a lot of you all probably know as SMRAs, you've heard all the awards and accolades and Forbes and Business Insider and Comparably and, yada, yada, yada. You go down the list. Okay, me and Ro. The reason that we've got a lot of those awards and accolades is not because our students make so much money with us, or, although we have students that make a lot of money with us. It's really because of the level of personal development. And it's because of TLA, it's a leadership academy. It's the fact that, people message our representatives on LinkedIn when they put vector marketing on the resume, because they know they actually have real meaningful skills that are valuable regardless of what industry that person is going into. So if you really want to open up some long-term opportunities, first step is, you got to start the sales rep job. Then you get to the dirty 30. We kind of tell reps, hey, nothing really matters until you get to 30-30. And Zoe, you were already talking about, making some moves and how to set that up. But I do want to mention real quickly some post-college opportunities. So 2 real quickly, I'll go through it super fast, but one is a Cutco sales professional. So these are people that sell Cutco full-time professionally as a career. So if you have, I would just say they have access to other programs outside that our sales reps don't do just by themselves. Like my mom is actually a CSP with us. She was doing physical therapy for like, I don't know, 15, 20, my whole life, basically. And then after I had to work for Cutco for 6 or 7 years, she'd gone to like a couple of the award ceremonies and was like, dude, I need to change the I need a change of pace and speed. And she had like a little midlife crisis, wanted to get herself out there a little bit more, wanted to be able to work, just make more money than what she was doing currently. So she became a CSP. So she works as a realtor, or works with our realtor program. So they help realtors, mortgage brokers, loan officers, business owners, help create custom branded gifts for Cutco's with Cutco for clientele and their referrals or their any of their clients or employees. We also have fairs and shows that people do. We have all sorts of different programs. But what I write down for CSP, I just write down flexibility. I would write down high income, and I would write down just like personal autonomy, right? So if you are like I said, flexibility meaning like if you like to have flexibility and don't like to report up to people, like a CSP is a really cool position because you really are kind of like in business for yourself. There's not a lot of people that you report to. You can kind of create the schedule around what you like. I know there's some CSPs that don't work for 3 months out of the year and they still make, the other part is high income. They still make six figures or more each year, and they don't even work for a couple months out of the year. And so they'll travel for a little bit, they'll get their heads down, work really, really hard, then stop for a couple months. And what people are like, so if you wanted to go into entertainment or art, or, I have like one of my guys in my office right now, he's an assistant manager, Spencer Trujillo. He wants to become a teacher and then a CSP on the side. So he'll, cause like he has a passion for teaching. He's like, and I want to make more money than a teacher. And so during the summertime, he sells Cutco, and then, he's going to go into teaching in the fall and spring as he's, studying and trying to preparing to become a principal too. So that's an opportunity avenue for people that, like I says, like a little bit more flexibility, specifically with the role and just independence. It can be a cool opportunity. Second thing is a district manager. So a district manager, what I write down, this is a career position. So we have some people that do this, full-time professionally as a career, and they'll do it for 10, 15, 20 years. We have some people that this is like their MBA, right? So rather than going and graduating from college and then going to get the MBA and paying, I don't know, $100,000, to go get the MBA and go through a school and have more schooling, they're pretty much getting the master's in business of running their own organization. They'll do this for 2 or 3 years out of college, run their own organization. Like they really develop the networking, just really develop their network, kind of like an MBA. They develop their skill set, and they develop their financial capital and can make and save a lot of money during that time period. So for district managers, what I write down for that, it's kind of like, we have a joke. It's kind of like being a really high paid teacher. Okay. So I just write down high income, and I write down mentorship/coaching. So if you really love to teach or mentor or coach and work with young people, our district manager is a really cool position. You have the personal satisfaction of coaching and mentoring. Plus, there's some cool other perks, like all of our managers get a black BMW. There's like Rolexes and other cool, financial perks and things like that up for grabs. And we got a really awesome team. I will take a quick second. Like I said, this is most of you on the radar. This is probably not something on the immediate radar. Maybe this is something to think about further on down the road. For some of you all, this might be something you can even talk to your manager about later today if it's something that catches your interest or your eye. But I will send our district manager pay packet into the group chat, so you have that here as well. And here's what I'll say as we're wrapping up here for today, ladies. I'm looking for some A players. I'm looking for leaders, whether you're as a sales rep, whether you're staying in the SMRA role, whatever you're doing. I'm really looking for people that can be stepping up and being leaders, being aces, if you will. One thing I'll say is that we have a saying, CPO talks in the division of like, hey, I can't really hear what you're saying until I see what you're selling. And also even with the SMRA role, like numbers talk. You can say and be excited, but like how many PRs are you actually setting? What is your shows actually like? Like the proof is always in the pudding. So I think number one, I said earlier, express your desires to your manager, let it be known so they can coach you. But the second thing is you got to back it up, with some real results. You got to get on the radar, if you will. And at the end of the day, I make all decisions of who gets into TLA and who's accepted into our Leadership Academy. So the best way they can do things is number one, being invited to meetings like these, right? Putting yourself out there, and then also continue to text me. So we're going to hold off on the break real quickly, but and we're just going to wrap things up. My other comment is just, I'll have well, you guys are already in the WhatsApp chat with me. So you already have my phone number. So I'd love to know if you start the sales role, make sure that you text me and send me some hot updates, or if you're just crushing it as an SMRA, send me hot updates. If you're getting really good numbers or good results, I'd love to know about that so you can stay on the radar. And again, we're looking for 5-star college graduates. One thing that I'll share with you all now. Okay, and we can post light bulbs in the chat afterwards. But I will say a couple of things that are up for grabs as we're wrapping up this meeting. Number one, okay, is I think a lot of you all know this, but there are some recruiting bonuses for getting your friends on the team. So we're building. A lot of you all I know have already had a friend or two or three or four on the team, and there's some launch bonuses that you can get for getting some friends on the team, as well as a shopping spree. Okay, $200 shopping spree that you can get if you have 10 friends that started the job this summer. They have to be qualified PRs, right? They have to sell their first $1,000 or so as well. You also have a special offer. Okay, a lot of you all know that there's a Tulum trip that you can also win. Now, here's the thing about Tulum. Okay, you do have to sell a little bit of Cutco. You don't have to sell a lot, but you do have to start the job as a sales rep to qualify for Tulum. But getting 8 friends of the team really is not that difficult if you're doing the SMRA role for the entire summertime. It's quite realistic that you're going to eventually have that happen, especially if you're partnering up with your manager. Look, Tulum is probably my favorite travel place to go to, period. I'm probably going to buy a property there in October. Look, I mean, I've traveled a lot of places. Tulum is probably the coolest place I've ever traveled to, on in literally the world. I've been to a lot of different countries. So if you haven't been to Tulum, it's a must-go-to spot. And we are taking an army and a squad there. And we're already going to have a lot of sales reps. We're going to have a lot of managers. Jess will be there. Okay. But I want to have as many SMRAs there as well. People that are becoming future leaders inside of our organization. So, continue to get to Tulum. And here's the offer that I'll give you guys. Okay. There's power in being in the right place at the right time. And I do not give this opportunity to all of our SMRAs, but if they come or get a special invitation to this meeting, we do. Okay. And that is the first thing you should know is there's a guaranteed base pay rate for every appointment that you do. There's also all this incentive commission pay. By the way, I'll let you guys in a secret. If you're a performer, if you're doing the sales rep position, you probably will not need the base pay. And I'll just tell you guys a secret. We have that to give reps confidence and make them feel at ease. And 90% of our representatives never need the base pay because they make a lot more off the incentive pay. But we always have it for them, and it gives them confidence and makes them not pressure the customers, right? Our representatives go through training. Training is usually on a Thursday or Friday. If you're interested in setting up for training, you can set up for this Thursday or Friday, or talk to your manager about when would be the best time to do that. But training is 2 days, okay? And training is 14 hours long. Our representatives don't get paid for training, but they do get paid as soon as they finish training, and for every single appointment that they do moving forward. However, since our SMRAs, we like to give them a little bit extra incentive, and we know that they would kick butt if they even just gave themselves a shot at trying to sell and go out there. Okay, we have a special SMRA training bonus. Okay, so just for our SMRAs, if you complete training, just for going through the actual training, we'll pay you for going through training. Now, by the way, you can't share this with anyone else because no one else in that training is getting paid to be there. Everyone else is just going through the training. All right. But we'll give you a $150 bonus just completing just going through training. Now, the asterisk and caveat here, okay, is you got to do the job, right? We won't pay you to just sit there and watch us for 2 days if you don't actually do the job. Okay, but as long as you do your first 10 presentations, like you complete your first weekend, so we'll pay you for training plus all the appointments and any sales that you did. So if you start, like, the worst case scenario that I say to people is like, hey, if you start the sales job, you will learn a ton. It will skyrocket your resume. You will grow it outside of your comfort zone for sure. And you'll probably make some good money. And if you decide after a week of doing it, you're like, I don't even want to do this anymore. I'd rather just stay in the SMRA role. Well, now it opens up some other doors and opportunities for you. It expands your resume. It grows you personally, and you're going to keep doing what you want. And you made some great money doing it. That's like the worst case scenario that happens. The best case scenario is hopefully a lot better, but you've got to actually do it. So if you go out and then you sat through training and then don't actually start the job, which obviously I don't know why you'd ever do that, but then we wouldn't give you the bonus just to be there and hang out. Okay. You have to actually start the job, but regardless of your performance or results, we will take care of you in that regards. And then you're still getting $15 or the performance commission off of every single appointment that you do. Second thing, the last thing I'm going to do, and I don't know, some of your managers might kill me for doing this, but we have a big event coming up, Summer Conference 1. Okay, this event is on June 15th. I would put this down on your calendars. It is a invitation-only event. This is the biggest, baddest event that we hold of the entire year. Okay, and we also typically, hint, wink, wink, if you're getting to the sales role and you want to make some statements in advance, we usually promote 20 to 30 assistant manager interns at this event. So some of you all might be in this meeting. You might not start the sales job for, a couple more weeks. Some of you all might get started pretty soon. And if you do, coming to this event can really open up some future opportunities for you. And we're going to be promoting some AMIs at that, So what I will say is it's an invitation only event. We have a lot of sales reps in the division, like sales reps that are in the division that have not received an invitation yet. And I already, like I said, I have a lot of confidence in our SMRA program. And if you were hired as an SMRA or if you're invited to this meeting. So I'm just going to let you all know right now that you are being invited to the SE1 conference on June 15th. So that's a 2 division, my division and our fellow brother and sister division, the Florida Caribbean division, will be hosting that event. So it will probably make sense. You probably have wanted to start the sales job before going to that event. But, a lot of our sales reps haven't even received an invitation like that to this. And I'm going to give you an invitation, even though none of you all have even started the sales rep, if you're on this call or if you're watching this video in the future here too. So with that said, I'll wrap up. I'd love for you all to just post your light bulbs, whatever you're excited about coming out of this meeting. Make sure that you're talking to your manager, and then just make sure that you're getting onto my radar. So text me if you have any hot updates, whether it's SMRA roles, whether it's with sales rep roles, or whether it's just to kind of get on the radar and introduce yourself. Feel free to reach out here as well. I'll wrap up with this, a couple quick things, and I know Jess is on the call right now, so you guys can just reach out to her afterwards. But a couple quick things, for Lindsay or anyone else that you're talking to, that I would let them know. Number one, I would follow up with your manager and just talk to them. Hey, what's your biggest takeaway? Because there are light bulbs coming out of today. What are you most excited about coming out of today? Is it starting the sales job? Is it getting to Dirty 30? Is it getting onto key staff? Is it becoming a shift leader? Number one, let your manager know, what are you most excited about coming out of this meeting today? Number two, I would set up just a conversation with them to talk to them about, when you can start the sales training, or when the next time you could participate in a training is. They can tell you about when they can get you set up. And then the third thing that I would just let them know, if they're not on this call, let them know that you also got, and then that I told you about the training bonus, and that you got invited to the SC1 conference on June 15th. They might not believe me, just well, because she's here right now. Okay. They might be a little bit mad at me that I already invited you. They're like, wait, you haven't started a job. How that doesn't make sense. But I did. So that's too bad. You can let them know. Anyways, we will wrap up with that, ladies. Any questions before we wrap up? Cool. All right. Outside of that, I hope everyone has a beautiful rest of your evening. Continue to crush and lead the way. And thank you guys again for all the work that you're doing and helping building and support the division right now. Looking forward to seeing some of you all and some future meetings and some future leadership opportunities.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
See you, Zoe. See you, Sailor.
Thank you.
Bye.